there was this fair that would happen in Long Island like every fucking year, and there was this swing ride, and it was a pretty tall one. I go on it. The little like bar that you're supposed to have right here was broken. So and I was trying to notify the person, hey, my bar is broken. We can lift it up in the air. And so I'm holding on to the 2 chains with all my might as we're going. I survive. The guy comes to unhook me and notices that my chain is broken. And they're like, are you okay? I look at him straight in the eye and just scream at the top of my lungs.
Keyframe, we talked about this. Try to not make every single story about your childhood and youth so depressing. And with this wonderful image, hello and welcome everybody to the AWKWARDCast. Aim and Keyframe wonder about random dribble. And after starting out 2018 with internet-wide known phenomenons like Chuggle Debuggle, Kichi FIM, and I mean, who hasn't heard of the Abbey Roadie, we decided to play it a little bit slower this week. So we got a new and upcoming Let's Player with us by the name of Jesse Cox. Welcome to the show, Jesse. It is nice to have you here. Yes. How about you introduce yourself for the people out there who have not heard of you yet?
Oh my goodness. Hi, I'm Jesse Cox. I'm from the internet. I do all sorts of nonsense and play games and stream and make video games and shows and all sorts of things. I am everywhere. Well, when I probably shouldn't be. I'm everywhere when I probably shouldn't be. That's how I'm going to sum myself up.
Well, this sounds very exciting. Good luck with this, my friend. Good luck with this. I'm fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. I need it. I need all the help I can get.
I guess so. But yeah, having you here, what's been going on recently in your life?
In my life, man, well, I have been working very, very hard lately to try to get a bunch of stuff done because the next 2 months are crazy. Like, I haven't done, if you ask me what I've been doing daily, it's work, nonstop. All I do is work because April, May, I'm going to be traveling a lot. And so I need to, like, you know the game. You gotta work hard if you want to play hard. I think I saw that on a shoebox once.
I actually got a good idea of it because with the planning of today's episode, I looked a little bit into like what's going on here. You are constantly streaming.
I have a problem. It's not that I'm streaming and I'm doing YouTube stuff and I'm working on producing the upcoming game Monster Prom. And I have a lot of things on my plate, and so I am a mess, just a mess. I've got so much going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Under those circumstances, even more. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Hope it will be a chill time for you. Yeah.
Oh, if it's not, you'll hear from me.
Hard but fair. I will not lie. But yeah, Keyframe, what's been going on in your life since last week? Actually, we had an episode last week.
Let's see. I kind of lived the Krendor life for a bit in the way that I didn't do anything.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I get that reference.
Yeah. No, we use that on the show a lot of just a Krendor day. But I haven't really left my home because I've been working because I have a con that I'm vending my art at in 5 days. So I've been just kind of working to get stuff done.
What kind of art do you do? Is it erotic?
I do digital, depending. But,
I know her NSFW Tumblr.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that on.
I know people try to lie and hide it all the time, but I know every artist loves to draw dirty. Artists love drawing dirty stuff. I know. You're all dirty art pervs. I get it.
When you have such an active imagination, sometimes you just need to draw the dick.
I'm just saying, if I had the power to draw beautiful artwork, I would draw the dirtiest erotica there ever was. I would, but I don't have that talent, so it's stick figures for me.
Hey, with stick figures, you can draw really long. Anyway, so yeah, I do a bunch of digital art.
As one example, the title card of the show.
Yeah, I did this. This is me. It is mine. But like, I'm vending there in like 5 days, so I've been working to get stuff done. So my life has been wake up, do a plank on the ground, maybe have breakfast, sit down, work, and then maybe food, then go to sleep. So I think I've left my house a total of 3 times this week to like take care of some errands and buy new protein powder because I ran out. And I tried chocolate protein powder for the first time. I don't know how to feel about it, honestly. It tastes like if you took the happiness out of cake batter. Like, that's the best way I could describe it.
Well, I mean, it's not supposed to be so you enjoy it.
I know.
My advice, vanilla with a little bit of frozen fruit.
I usually get vanilla, but I was like, I want to try something different. And look what happens when you try something different. You just get disappointment.
Well, this is a life lesson. Everybody at home, you heard it from Keyframe herself. Never try to change anything. Always stay with which you are familiar and comfortable with.
But yeah, so that's been my life. Very boring, very protein filled.
Whoa, we lost your face.
Hello, it's me, Jesse. I have my mouth on a screen.
Oh, there you are.
There we go. You can thank the greatness of the Skype application for that.
Hey.
Thanks,
Skype's
Microsoft.
Great. Skype's great.
Yeah, but
Skype's so good, and nothing ever goes wrong with Skype.
Discord, develop the Face app quicker.
Yeah, but that's been my life. So what about you, Mr. Max?
I was legally forced to leave the house frequently due to office time, but once again a very amazing week. So much not happening. No, I actually got a little bit more into streaming many of the new games I recently picked up, like Battle Chef Brigade, Bioshock I didn't pick up recently, but I got a little bit streaming in there. Hopefully at some point, what else? Super Hot, I got Super Hot and Hellblade, so hopefully I will get around checking those out eventually. Besides that, today I actually got creative. I got to use my hot glue and a most important ingredient for every art project.
Googly eyes.
But what it has up, or what is up with that, will stay a mystery for a few more days. Oh boy.
Are you finally getting a pet rock so you're not alone?
Yes. Forever alone, goodbye. Beautiful. I have my own.
That's so beautiful.
I have my own googly-eyed pet rock.
So proud of you.
You know what? When Jesse's alone, he has all of his pets in his office, like that Kerrigan, and his big boobed mouse pad.
I mean, I have posters. Do they count?
You mean this mouse pad? It's so big. Hold on.
Oh
this
my!
Mouse pad that is literally as big as my head.
But is it as comfy as it looks?
No, it is incredibly uncomfortable. It is. I have to turn to the side because it's so big and bulbous that you can't rest your wrist in between it. It is too much. There's too much boob. There's far too much cushion.
A sentence I would never have expected, least of all from you, but apparently there is something like too much boob.
I'm letting you know. Well, first off, hold on. These are not like real boobs. These are.
They are not.
I know, it's crazy. I know.
They don't farm anime titties and cut them off and glue them on there.
These boobs are like, you know, the mouse pads that had like whatever that gel bottom was that you rest your wrist on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but two big chunks of them, and it is squishy, but I'm squeezing these boobs right now to give you sort of like the best feel. It's squishy.
Feel it for us.
But at the same time, like the most unboob-like quality I've ever felt. Truly, they are. It's an unpleasant. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It's like two giant stress balls rather than actual boobs. And there's it hurts. It hurts. If I just sat here and just squeezed these all day, my right hand would be like super ripped.
Well, that's one way for workout, I guess. I mean, look at it from the bright side. You are still closer to some real boobs to touch than I am. I mean, I only have my own man boobs to offer.
I don't like, these are not, this is not, shout out to Sunrun Kagura, Peach Beach Splash, for sending me this mouse pad. I will give them all the credit in the world. Best game franchise ever. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong.
Objectively.
But this is, I just don't, it's too big. Like, it's too big. And the mouse pad's too big. It takes up half my desk. It's just too big. This is less of a mouse pad and more of a committed relationship.
You're pad shaming.
I am. This pad is too big. Lose a little pad is all I'm saying.
I would like to point out how awkward this is, but this would end the show, so we are moving on.
To medium?
Oh, yeah, because I did one thing this week, finally, after a few weeks of a break. I managed to go to the cinema again yesterday.
Yeah.
What did you see?
What did I see, indeed? Keyframe, we have to remove your face for a while and replace it with a different face of a hard working out lady. With this one.
Oh, Lara Croft.
Yes.
Wait, did you call me old?
What? No, with an what?
Damn.
Whatever.
Awkward. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Anyway,
Tomb Raider, indeed. So, I was in the movie. I will say I didn't have a bad time.
You were in the movie? Sorry. Just goofing around. Trying to make it awkward. Trying to keep the awkward.
I gotcha.
Going.
Keep it flowing. Keep the quota, man.
Indeed.
Yeah.
No. I just didn't get you hearing-wise. But, no. Not necessarily a fine movie. It's a fun movie, so especially when you are into young, athletic ladies, then it's quite the eye candy. I will not lie. You might enjoy it at least for the visuals. Then, as many people can probably already tell, with a crossbow and everything, they are borrowing a lot from the aesthetics of the recent reboot of the video game franchise. They even have the freaking climbing axe in there, like the literal thingy. She uses it at some point. Bow and arrow, obviously.
It is a movie like developed by Square Enix too.
Yes, this was the weirdest thing. I sat in the cinema, and the third Square Enix on a big screen in the cinema, and I was like, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know. Wait,
it's developed by Square Enix, so was there like a huge supply of dudes in belts with white hair, or?
No.
I would say in the audience probably, yeah.
It was sadly very empty actually, but then again I was in the early afternoon screening. No, but here's the thing. And they didn't only borrow the aesthetics, with which I, by the way, am completely fine. I really love the aesthetics of the reboot. I mean, I only got into playing Tomb Raider games with it. So the old ones, I knew them, obviously, 90s kid and everything, but actively playing really only the new Tomb Raider. And the problem is they didn't stop there. They also took, this is not spoiler yet, this gets revealed in the intro, in the exposition in the beginning of the movie. They took the idea of, what was it, Himatai on the island of whatever, the goddess on the island. So from the first game. However, they spun it in a completely different direction. So it starts out with, I believe, the original Himatai in the video game was a sun goddess. Here it was suddenly a goddess of death. So it already starts weird and... Don't take...
But did you expect this movie to be good, like on a scale of
No.
1 to 10?
But I'm not saying that it was bad due to borrowing it, but they were obviously like, look, it's like the game. It's like the game. You recognize this piece, this axe from the game. You recognize this outfit. It's like the game. But then they make a completely different story with it. They constantly invoke iconic moments and motives from the game, but didn't do anything. But they told a different story. So everybody who knows the game is like, Yeah. This. I heard it before, but now it's completely different. Now I'm confused.
I guess that's like, I mean, it's the same thing when you went and saw the Warcraft movie, and you were like, all right, so it's the same thing, but not the same thing, and also you told everything, like you took everything and tried to put it all. I get why they do shit like that. Like, I understand, as someone who tries to like create content and scripts and stuff like that, I get it. I understand why they did it, because when you're coming from a game, you either have the choice of making it for just the audience, the gaming audience, in which case not a lot of people are going to see it, or you make it for a general audience, and then you lose everything in the details, right? Because in that's a big problem with movies. It's a big problem with TV shows. It's a problem that we had on the show that we produced. It's a huge issue. We're just trying to like, okay, I want to make shows that are for gamers, but that doesn't necessarily mean like you limit your audience, which is kind of shitty, but whatever. But the whole point is that I feel like going into this, just like every other video game movie, their options were either it's for the gamers or it's for a general audience. And no studio is going to be like, okay, we're going to make this movie for gamers. No. Yeah, we're going to make this movie for people who understand the property already. So instead, we want to make it for a general audience. And unless you have someone who knows how to translate something that is designed for a specific audience into a general audience, a great example of that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where like they have the people that were there making that movie were like, we're gonna make it as faithful to the originals as we can, but at the same time we need to make it appeal to a lot of people. So they like took their time and made it work. Like that, that's not the case with the Tomb Raider movie. No one sat around trying to take their time and figure out how to make it work right. It was like, okay, well, what if we make a movie that is very similar to what people know, but is different, so when the gamers see it, they'll get a new story. And then their justification is, well, if someone played the game, they're going to have a new story, and so they'll be okay with that. But it's like, no one wants that, right? People want to experience the thing they experienced. It should have been a different adventure. It should have been like, real talk, It should have been, we had the Tomb Raider 1 game, we had Tomb Raider 2. This should have been the Tomb Raider 3 game, but in a movie. Or
yeah, that would have been better. Or maybe even if they want to tell their own origin story, because it also kind of was a little bit different origin story.
But I feel like everyone gets where she comes from. Yeah. And most people don't give a shit where she comes from. Most people don't care about her past. People care that she is this badass chick who fucking runs through jungles, beats the shit out of dudes, avoids getting hit by like crazy traps and stuff. No one cares about her past. They care about like, what's she gonna do next? And I think that's the problem with the character. Is it's like Spider-Man. There's been so many Spider-Man movies. We get it. Or Batman. If I have to see another shot of his parents being killed in an alley, I'm gonna lose my damn mind.
I'll kill someone's parents.
Right? Like, if I just can't. I can't do that shit. So I feel like people have seen her origin story, and spoiler, her origin story isn't that interesting. It's the least interesting part of her.
Little witch girl who likes archaeology.
Yeah, and then she gets like, and the new version is she gets like captured and roughed up and has to like overcome it. The old version, I can't remember what it was, is that she something, but whatever the case may be, it's not like oh, this is it's she's a badass who was always a badass, and it took a moment of like trauma to unlock the badassness in her. But that's like it. That's like the way she is. She was always a badass. Like, that's the point of her character. People want to see more of that. They don't want to see like
the movie kind of shows this.
Where'd she come from?
The movie kind of goes into this direction, but I would still say showing the origin, yes or no, is something up for debate. But the weird thing by recycling the island and the goddess theme and then telling it differently, they should have just picked a different location with a different mystery and good.
Well, I feel like this was one of those, like I said, it's let's use stuff that they're familiar with and change it.
They invoked the game left and right, the outfit, the looks, everything. So
were there dinosaurs? Did she fight dinos?
There were no dinosaurs in the game.
In the original Tomb Raider, she fought
a
raptors.
T-Rex. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's one of the first bosses.
Yo, but this one is about the rebooted video game franchise, so...
That's why the reboot sucks.
Yeah, you know what? The movie would have been better with dinosaurs.
Yeah, the movie would have been great with dinosaurs.
I
can't argue that point.
1 out of 10, not enough dinosaurs.
Yeah, but
Agreed.
two maybe final thoughts about it. One thing I actually liked about the movie, like, they... at least sometimes showed a more realistic version of pain. Like, usually you have the Arnold Schwarzeneggers who just run through an action movie and get shot into pieces and they don't even flinch about it. While she, after some moments where she got badly hit, you really see her like experiencing pain, giving it a certain level of realism, which then failed in the next scene when she runs.
It would have been better if she got like crushed by a boulder or impaled by a twig, or like, you know, and then it reset and she had to go through it again. Oh my god!
Oh.
Let's just why
am I so much smarter than movie producers, y'all? What if? Oh my god!
Oh no!
What if, Jesse?
Oh my god! Why am I the smartest person in Hollywood? All right.
Are you even living in Hollywood?
No, but I live nearby.
Okay, fair enough.
What if?
What if?
The goddess in this scenario was a... Oh my god, I'm so smart. Hold on, I'm gonna drink my coffee. Right, I got a frog in my throat.
You gotta get your Starbucks screenplay juice in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
The goddess is not a goddess of death or a goddess of the sun.
Oh boy.
Goddess of time. And what happens is she steals this thing at the beginning, like the first, 20 minutes of the movie, she's on an adventure, she steals this thing. The rest of the movie is just like the game, where she's trying to like escape the bad guys, all that shit, but she can die. And she dies in terrible, horrible, gruesome ways, but it resets before she dies and she has to go through it again. And it's just like the game, except, and so you get to see those like ridiculous death scenes, but like she learns from it, and just like you, the player, continues on through the thing in order to return the trinket back to where she got it from, because that's the only way she can stop this cycle of death. It's like Tomb Raider meets Edge of Tomorrow. Boom, done. Best movie ever, ever.
So you take like the Tomb Raider games, mix it with Final Destination of ridiculously gruesome deaths, and then put in Groundhog Day and just have...
And Chet just came to the same conclusion while you were talking about it.
Yep, I'm letting you know. That's the best idea I've ever had, and I continue to believe that I should just be pitching movies every damn day. That's so good, because it takes one of the parts of the game that's fascinating, where like if you fail, it shows your terrible death. Like it shows it, and so I feel like if the setup would be that she takes this trinket or whatever it is, this medallion, and she goes to sell it, and so like maybe she does sell it to some dude, but then the bad guy also relives his death, and he doesn't want to return the trinket because he's like, I can learn from him, and so he like robs from people, and like he's a bad guy because he like figured out how to stop himself from dying all the time. Man, best movie.
Well, there we go.
Beautiful.
These two.
You know what, Jesse? You're on a roll. Why don't you continue? What is your media this week?
Oh boy.
And
you didn't tell me before, so I need to find it quickly.
My media this week, you probably can't find it.
Oh.
It's an episode of Law and Order that I watched.
Perfect.
SVU, Criminal Intent, or the original series?
The original. Even though I love Mariska Hargitay, she is my waifu, my one and only waifu. This episode, I want to tell you, it was insane. So for people who aren't aware, Law and Order, there are 3 series: Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Law and Order Criminal Intent. Law and Order, I don't know, a few years ago finally went off the air, but it's been on like 20-some seasons. Like it's been on forever.
I think it's the longest running TV like crime drama show.
Did I find the right one?
Yes, that's it.
I don't think that's the right cast, but it's the right. it's the right show, not the right. So Law and Order, just to put this out there, Law and Order has been on so long that the guy you see there, the district attorney, went from being the young, upstart district attorney to the guy who's the head DA, the lead. Like, he went from, like, the new guy to the old boss over the length of the series. That's how long the show's been on. So, yeah, and Jerry Orbach is there. He's my favorite detective of all the seasons. Whatever the case may be, excellent show. Really, really love it. So, most of the time when I watch it, it's when I'm trying to be like healthy Jesse, and I'm either like on an elliptical or a treadmill. So it's like I have it at home, and I'm sitting there like trying to like work out and watch it. It makes time fly by. I love it. So most of the episodes are, dude, like I watched one last night where basically a guy got drunk and snuck into his old house and murdered the couple that lived there. And he, the case was about trying to figure out like if he killed them on purpose or what he was there or why this drunk guy killed these people. Like, it was that kind of thing. Sometimes, though, an episode happens where it is insane. Insane.
Go on.
The other day I watched an episode where the start of it was a guy who was a like lingerie photographer. It starts out, it's in his apartment. He's taking photos of this girl on his bed. There's like 50 people around him, and there's like a bunch of guys laughing in the corner. He's getting really upset about them laughing, and he boots them out, and then he boots everyone out, and so it's just him and this girl. And he's like, all right, baby, take photos with me. And they take photos. Of course, like every episode of Law & Order, cut to the next day, and his body is found, and he's hung naked in his bedroom with his hands behind his back. And of course the cops have to make their like one-liners about like, oh, look at this guy, he's pretty hung, like that kind of thing. Then they go try to figure out like who killed this dude. It had to have been one of the many people that were at the party, right? So the first 10 minutes or so of this episode of them interviewing people at the party, and they interviewed the model who was there, and she's like, oh, he had a lot of enemies. Like, he was yelling at people at the party. It sucked. It was awful. But then what happens is they discover none of the people at the party were around. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They have no leads. Like, who would have killed this guy? Maybe it was autoerotic asphyxiation. Who knows? Who knows how this guy died? They discover a photo of him online on a cell phone in his car that links back to a website that is basically 4chan. And on this website, they've posted him in like a take justice into your own hands like forum thing. And this dude is on his cell phone. They're like, we should teach him a lesson about being on your cell phone while driving. And
what?
This woman, oh, get ready, it gets crazy. This woman who is crazy to the point where like she doesn't have a child but is convinced her child was hit by a taxi cab driver on his cell phone, believes that people who receive messages on their cell phone while driving get messages from the devil because it's the only time you can be alone with them while they're driving, and that's when they kill good people. So she thinks this guy is killing kids because the devil tells him to do it on a cell phone. So she sees his picture and goes and murders him. And they're like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I did this. I killed this guy. And they're like, wait, what? And so they bring in a psychologist. The psychologist is like, we can't put her away in jail because she legitimately is crazy. Like, if we charge her, she's like, they're gonna put her in a psychiatric. And he's like, okay, well, what do we do? And he's like, we should. Of course, the young attorney's like, we should we should go after the website. We should take down the website. And so now the episode becomes about them going to take on the website. The website's owner is Rob Corddry, who's from that hospital show that was on Cartoon Network, and Hot Tub Time Machine, and oh my God, he was on The Daily Show. Like, a legitimate comedic actor is now in this, and he is now the evil internet guy, and he's like, you can't touch my internet servers. Like, it is.
Oh, come on.
Oh my God, is it? So what happens is one of the detectives goes to they get a warrant to go get his servers because this woman was on there, and the people on there pushed her to go kill this guy. What they did is they found out they basically doxed the dude. So they found out where he lived. They found out the passcode to his apartment complex. And so they let her get in. So they're saying that because you did all this stuff, you are equally responsible in the murder of this person because you're not crazy. You need to be culpable. So they go after this guy. They go to his house and take all of his servers. And this dude's he's like, you're telling me you didn't know this lady was crazy? And the guy was like, of course I knew she was crazy. And so the cop goes to the judge when they're in trial, and he's like, yeah, no, this guy said that they were crazy, and he knew. And Rob Corddry's character is like, no, I never said that. I would never say that. That didn't happen. And the cop's like, you did say that. And so what Rob Corddry's character does is he has the internet dox the cop. So they find out the cop has a kid.
Oh no.
And the cop's kid, he has not been taken care of. He hasn't been paying child support. And so the defense attorney's like, how can you trust this man's word if he doesn't even pay child support? Right? And it's just like, the fuck is happening? So then...
how long is one episode of Law?
It's an hour long.
Only one?
In an hour.
Oh, God.
All this happened in an hour. So then the prosecutors are like, oh no, our main witness is screwed. How do we prove this guy's an asshole who knew this woman was going to kill this? These guys pushed this woman to kill this dude. How do we prove that? What they ended up doing is one of the cops in the show, who's not featured in this picture because he's one of the newer cast. His backstory that they keep referring to multiple times. His backstory is that he was in the intelligence branch of the military, I guess. And so he has contacts all over the world. And one of his contacts that he does is he's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to go contact your... Nope, it's not any of them. That's Law and Order Criminal Intent, I think. So anyway, but they're like the only way to fight a doxer is with your own doxing. So he reaches out to his Chinese intelligence friends. They Chinese dox this dude, find all of this information, and the way they win the case at the end is by showing a photo of Rob Corddry with the crazy lady as she's yelling at a taxi cab driver for being on his cell phone, and he's standing there watching it happen. And they're like, you knew she was crazy, and you pushed her to do this. And he's like, oh, you got me. And I was like, this is literally the craziest thing I've ever seen in the history of TV. So bonkers. I'm not gonna lie, it was super entertaining. It was the most entertaining hour of Law and Order I've ever watched in my life.
I'm just imagining you on the elliptical while you're watching this.
So anybody in the chat, do you know the episode? We need to find this episode now.
Oh, but actually, the thing is, I grew up with Law and Order. So none of this sounds weird to me, because they had an episode in 2007 called Avatar, and what it was basically I guess this is when the role-playing online thing Second Life was popular. So it was this girl gets abducted. So what they do is that the police go into her Second Life server and have because this was SVU, so you have Stabler and stuff. Stabler's trying to be a girl.
SVU is bonkers. SVU, God bless Mariska Hargitay, but SVU is you're right. It's crazy. I remember that episode too, where they oh my God, SVU is next level.
Let me tell you my favorite episode, because I'm going to be doing my media next, but when people talk about Law and Order, the memories of this, because I don't watch TV anymore, so SVU is on Netflix, but it's only the first 5 seasons, but the memories rush back. There was an episode that guest starred Robin Williams.
Go! I swear to God, go look at all the guest stars that have been on Law and Order. There's so many. All these celebrities show up.
Have you ever wanted to see an episode where BoJack Horseman gets his balls surgically taken off? There's an episode with Will Arnett in there. So But yeah, this episode with Robin Williams in it. It was basically he calls this detective who says, "I'm detective blah blah blah," and instructs this other detective to put this woman in a closet and strip her down and sexually assault her. And it's like this detective doesn't exist, and the other detective's like, "Oh my god!" And essentially, this guy McGitt, I think this is like the last name of Robin Williams' character. Let's just call him Robin. He had a tragic backstory where his wife and child died in childbirth. So he uses his skills of doing different voices and impressions to constantly call the doctor that botched up the procedure to call him to drive him to suicide. And so he did drive the doctor to suicide. So he gets now a kick from calling people and instructing people to do terrible things to each other. And how the episode ends.
Awesome.
How the episode ends, which is the weirdest hook fucking ending, is that Robin Williams runs away. Stabler and Olivia are trying to chase him.
Tony Baloney. I love that man.
But the thing is, he looks over, they get to the Hudson River, and he's just gone. And they're like, he's gone. And there's no trace of him. Like, it's implied that he drowned, but it's like, they were just like, we give up. And then, but it wasn't even give up. They just stand there. And it has that Law and Order music of, just of them looking. And then there's a focus shot on the Hudson River, fades to black, directed by Dick Wolf. And I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Where did Villain go?
There are so many. Oh my God! There's so. Basically, what they do is they save the craziest episodes for their huge celebrities. I remember when I think this was a Law and Order episode. I don't remember which one.
I'm looking up their guest star list.
I'm missing out by not watching this show, do I?
By the way, this is the episode I put it in chat. This is the episode that I was talking about.
Perfect.
It literally is called Human Flesh Search Engine. Is the name of the episode, which is incredible. Aired 2009. That's how long this show has been on. What was, I'm gonna have to look this up. There was an episode, Haley Joel Osment, Law and Order. Was it a movie?
No, I remember the episode you're talking about. But
yeah, oh my God.
The thing with Law and Order, the thing with Law and Order and SVU is that they do the whole rip from headlines thing. So if something happened in the months that they were doing production for these episodes, they will make an episode about it. Like, I know that they had an episode like last year or something where it was about like gamers being violent, and they had Logan Paul as the guest star, and like then they had one about is rape jokes funny, and they had like a stand-up comedian who is a rapist. It's like,
of course.
Oh, like I'm trying to figure out this episode, but yeah, like every time they have a major star in the show, it always has to be like not just a normal episode, but an episode that is like out there. And so I remember the Haley Joel Osment episode. We're talking little Haley Joe, like fresh off of like Sixth Sense and like shit. The episode is his wife and or girlfriend is like killed and assaulted in front of him by like a gang, and he's like beat up and left, and he goes on like a vigilante streak around town, like killing gang members as basically like Batman. And they're like, who is this guy? And it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And he's like, you can't stop me. I'm going to get my revenge. Once I find out who that gang was, I'm going to kill him. And I was like, what is happening right now? God.
There was a fucking similar thing with Criminal Minds. They do the same thing in Criminal Minds, which is a show where it's like the psychological analysts of like CSI and all that shit, where they find out like a pathological killer's MOs. And they had Frankie Muniz as the guest star, and he was like a comic book artist that was mentally disturbed because his girlfriend got raped and killed in front of him. And so he kills people, slaughters them, and then draws the crime scenes in his comics and draws them as like these monster things. And he keeps calling his girlfriend's cell phone, and then you find out at the end the cell phone was in his house the whole time. Like, it's like...
Oh, I did see that episode. Because like the entire point of that episode is like he keeps calling her because you don't know that she was killed. You just know that she was like assaulted. Yeah. You don't know, and so you don't know she was killed too. And so at the very end, you find out. Yeah, I remember that too. God, you know what? I love trashy like Law and Order style shows where it's like detectives trying to solve the crime. I love that crap. I love it. Love it.
The implied gore in the Criminal Minds episode too, because since it's drawn in black and white ink, you can get away with everything. It's just monsters. But you have to know it's exactly what it is in the real life thing. The guy like, fucking decapitated most of the gang members with a katana. Yeah.
Like oh my god, what a fantastic, insane episode that was. Man, Frankie Muniz. I love it when they bring him back and like, yeah, okay, so you're gonna be a psycho killer and you have a terrible backstory. It's like, all right, I'm in. I imagine actors eat up that stuff. Like they're like, yes, of course, I'll do it.
I mean, I would.
It's like having like a guest on like a kid show and being like, okay, you're going to be the villain, so be as handy as you want. Thank you.
Give it to me.
That would be the best. But
roll your mustache every 5 minutes. Yeah, so that's what I watched. I watched the craziest episode of Law and Order I've ever seen.
So, Keyframe. Yes.
My media wasn't the Robin Williams episode of Law & Order. But I actually want to promote a channel that I've been following for a long time, and I love their stuff. His name is Chetero, and he does, I may be mispronouncing his name, or Chet Rio.
He does a bunch of remixes, the Swedish guy also.
Yeah, he does remixes of cartoon shows, and like the first one I remember watching was way back in the day. And it was of season 1 and season 2 clips of Adventure Time. So he's been doing stuff for a while. And the thing that got him the most notoriety is that he did remixes of every episode of Rick and Morty that came out in season 3. This is his most recent one of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
And
so, but yeah, you can.
Yeah, but like. I absolutely love his stuff because it sounds like real music. Like, he has a remix of Regular Show called Chimichanga, and I bump that when I'm running on the treadmill because it's so like 80s pop, and I love it. And I don't have much to say. I wanted to do a short video, but it takes a dedication to do this stuff at the quickness and quality that he has, because each one is a good remix. Like, I was especially worried when he said, "Oh, I'm going to do a remix for every episode of Rick and Morty," and be like, and I was worried, like, can you do that?
I believe he actually skipped a few when he didn't feel inspired by them. So it's really a passion thing for him, and he only does it when he feels inspired.
Yeah,
this is cool. This is really great.
Did you have passion was something. So he needs more attention. I mean, he did get a lot of attention viral wise when the Rick and Morty remixes came out, but you always know that lull that happens after you get off the viral train. So, but I think he needs more support because he's just a talented dude. So,
well, I mean, with that said, it seems like he's got that ebb and flow of, like, if you go back, you can see he had a Lord of the Rings series for a while where he did remixes from Lord of the Rings, and those have 1 million views each.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
But
he did a Frozen remix.
Yeah, but my favorite is still the Adventure Time remix. I think that was one that was really well put together.
There's a recent Adventure Time one, I assume.
No, it's the older one. It's an older one.
I'm mixing them up again.
But yeah, so if you want some cool remixes of like BoJack, Rick and Morty, Adventure Time, Lord of the Rings, Frozen, this is the guy to go to and watch.
Absolutely. And yes, I put the link in the chat, and for the YouTubers later on, I will put it in the description down below. And pointing downwards is completely wow, and perfect timing again with your media there. Oh, and there he is. Yeah, you see his face, like, talking to us. But yeah, where's...
Oh yeah, he is like a sweet man.
Yeah. But yeah, link down to the description for YouTube and in the chat there.
So since we went really long with the media, we don't have to answer a lot of questions. But that's good because we didn't get a lot of questions. Oh, everyone reads us like an open book.
A few came still trickling in later on.
I know, and I'm just saying that we don't have. When we had DA Games on last week, his fans love to ask questions. Good for them. But we got like 13 questions in like 5 seconds, and it's like. But I wanted to ask this. This question was asked hours ago, but I like this question from Denim Ninja.
Oh boy.
An evil wizard has trapped you on a deserted island, but will let you pick one of 3 items to have with you: a pair of scissors, a blanket, or a porn magazine. Which do you pick and why? Jesse, what would you pick?
All right, first off, I have a very active imagination, so I don't need the porn magazine. That seems like a waste.
That's good. Getting
Second off, scissors. I have the power of ripping and tearing, like all mammals. I don't need scissors. Blanket, though, you gotta keep warm on those cold nights. Blanket, obviously. Okay. Blanket. And when it rains, you can put it up above and it will catch water for you. Boom! Boom! Roast it. Get out of town. I've been thinking about that for years. Come at me, wizard.
So, Keyframe, since Jesse already took the blanket, what do you take, the scissors or the porn magazine?
I have a question. What kind of porn magazine is it? Is it like just a Playboy with the softcore stuff, or are we talking something
I'm letting you know,
in the back of the store?
No matter what happens, that porn magazine, I think we all know. Eventually, you're going to get bored of that shit. Eventually, you're going to be like, well, now I've seen it all.
Literally.
You know, here's the thing, though. If I get the porn magazine, I have my fun with it. But after I get bored, I have Tinder for a fire.
Yeah, but you also are on the island, and so you can just use leaves.
Yeah, but leaves get wet.
So...
I can keep the magazine in my shirt and or pants.
Sure, all right.
And but I guess I have the scissors then.
No. I wasn't saying I was going to pick the porn magazine. I was asking the preliminary question. Is it the good shit or the softcore shit?
It's whatever you want. It's your favorite type.
I mean, we are talking wizard. A wizard can probably get you the porn magazine.
A wizard can do anything.
Yeah, that's true. But if a wizard could do anything, I would get the scissors and then ask him to be the dimensional scissors from Star vs. the Forces of Evil and just put myself somewhere else.
Smart move.
So I picked the scissors.
But you can't do that. It's just normal scissors.
But you just said the wizard can do anything.
Yeah, but he's not going to do it because he likes you. He's putting you on this island because he doesn't like you.
I'm charming. I can convince.
I feel like you are underestimating this wizard's level of tolerance for charm. This wizard he's an old crotchety wizard. He's not like a cool
roll
wizard.
A nat 20 on charm, on charisma.
No way. He is not Harry Potter. He's like one of the old white bearded wizards.
But I still would pick the scissors because out of all my workout, my upper arm strength is the weakest, so I probably couldn't tear some things. So I would still pick the scissors. Plus, I could stab people with scissors.
So I'm basically stuck alone with a porn magazine.
Yes.
It's the 1990s all over again. Great. Anyway.
It's in Germany. It's not an island.
No, but I don't know. People, who needs them anyways?
But next question. I'm the question czar here.
You know.
Your result from Rob Kernock. Says, favorite games that you've played in 2018 so far?
Oh boy, let me go to Steam.
This year so far? This year. Oh my god. This year? The problem is some of my favorite games I also kind of played into last year too. My favorite games that I've played so far this year. Oh, my memory's not good enough to remember the first 3 months of this year. I'm
already firing up Steam. Cheating.
I know, right? I don't know. I like the concept of We Were Here Too. I think that's pretty fun. Hello, I am a mouth and I am a head.
Oh, yes, Keyframe, you did it again.
Skype, you're so great in every way and never fail me. Thank you, Microsoft Overlord, for this wonderful program.
It's exactly what I heard about it.
All right. So some games that I definitely have loved so far is I loved the game Chuchel. I think that game is really cute and sweet and silly and weird and very, very fun. I think Vermintide 2 is a ton of fun. It definitely gives me Left 4 Dead 2 vibes, and I love that about it. I'm trying to think of other stuff I played recently. I very much, even though I think the voice acting is so bad, I love the concept of what they did in the game The Council. I think the game Crossing Souls is super fun. I think it's always nice to have 80s nostalgia. I of course think Monster Hunter is incredible. Monster Hunter World is super fun. What else have I played recently? I'm sure there are more, but I can think of those right now, and I love those. So, yeah.
Let's see, my games. Here's the thing. I don't play a lot of video games because I work from home. But the thing is, I recently got a new computer on behalf of my job because I was working on a 15-year-old computer. As
a digital artist.
As a digital artist, video editing and all that stuff. But the lovely people at DA Games got me this powerhouse setup, and I loved it. So I've been actually able to play video games in my own room, which is great. So I've been playing some games. Most of them are multiplayer because I like the friendship experience. I guess my favorite games are like, the thing is I have to go back to like the ending of 2017 because a lot of the games that I play, I've just been playing more often. Heroes of the Storm, I'm trash for that game. I started playing Overwatch a lot more this year, and I'm Lucio main trash. Oh, just because now I can play them. I couldn't play; they were unplayable on my old computer. And but I've been playing Overwatch, and it's fun. I like TF2 better, but like I like Overwatch for just playing Lucio because Lucio is the best. But I guess my favorite just game that I've played is Doki Doki Literature Club. And I know
this was last year.
We played that. We played that in November, but I've been so entranced by like the lore and everything of it, even now into this year. Like most of my music that I listen to is like Doki Doki music. It's still super fun, and I actually played it again recently, just on my own, and it's still so engaging. And the Salvato games really made something surprising.
You are just trash.
Look, man. Shut up. I just had a great time. The scares were, it makes you feel, because I love horror games. I'm a huge horror fanatic of movies, TV, that kind of media. I love web horror media, follow Nightmind for that reason. Just when games can make you feel uncomfortable and tense without having to do jump scares every 5 minutes, that's when you know you've made a good horror game. Because it's like a good horror movie. It can't be all jump scares. You have to feel tense. A horror is feeling not good, like you're in a foreign situation you're not used to. You feel vulnerable. And you feel vulnerable in those situations when you realize you have no control, which is the whole point of a game. That's the whole appeal of gaming that is different from movies and TV shows. You actually have choice and a hand in the actions that occur. And when you lose that and you're so immersed in it, it's so good. And Doki Doki is just one of the better horror games that I've played so far, because a lot of games, especially in the past few years, resorted to the jump scare method, which is not fun. I mean,
don't listen to Yahtzee then.
Well, I mean,
he was ripping Doki Doki a new one.
The last good horror game I played before Doki Doki was Whistleblower.
Well, I don't think Doki Doki is a horror game. I don't know what Yahtzee said, but if he used the criteria of a horror game, I don't see it as a horror game. I see it along the lines of a game like Pony Island, or a game that is literally a like mind F game, where it takes something that you know and love. And the reason why this is sort of scary in a horror game is because it's taking the expectation of you being a person who's like, I'm going to date all the girls and I'm going to manipulate this so I can get like a sex scene with this girl, right? And then being like, well, what if one of the girls was like really in love with you and she saw you like doing this to all these other people, and like she was like, I love that idea. I love what Doki Doki's about. It's more of like a spooky, like, oh no, this got weird, and like, when files change on the computer, you're like, oh, and it's kind of like Pony Island, where the game starts out as like, it's a happy game, and oh my god, this game's possessed by the devil.
So how is the USB stick doing?
I still have it. It's in a drawer. It's in Diablo. It's in the Diablo. You know, if you bought Diablo 3, it's collector's edition. It came with a skull with a little like gem. And of course, because it's the devil thing, I had to put it in that. So now it rests in Diablo's skull, and I'll never delete that file. It will always exist.
Sounds like an appropriate resting place.
But I can see what you mean. I mean, Doki Doki is also that deconstruction of the dating sim, and like the chat says, it's very psychological. But I'm a huge sucker for psychological horror. My favorite horror movies are like Misery and stuff like that. That F's with your head. And like how they have the warning at the beginning of the game, like people with anxiety and depression take caution while playing the game. I'm someone who has that. So it really, especially the anxiety portion, I remember the first time I played it with Max, I kind of was a little bit shaky during some things. Like, it just has a certain essence to it, like when it does certain things, that just makes my hand twitch, and I find that more horrifying than the sudden heart rate jump you get when it comes into your face. It's just I like that uncomfortable feeling to a degree. It's that kind of masochistic enjoyment that you get from horror movies.
Right. But all I was saying is I was curious what Yahtzee's take was, because honestly, like, here's my thoughts. It's a game that subverts expectations and created a crazy fandom and is free. So, like, I don't know why anyone would be like, I don't like this.
No,
it's terrible.
I didn't. He wasn't like shit talking it. He was more like, apparently he saw the plot come as the twists coming, and he compared it pretty quickly to other games who did similar things in the past. So he got apparently not immersed enough to have the effect of to experience the effect of the game, and therefore at the end of the day, it was a little bit like, okay, you can't complain, it's free, but he wasn't as blown away by it, I guess. I saw a few other people, especially a friend of us by the name of Josh Scorcher. He played it, and when the scenes come where everybody usually is like, he was sitting there. He was creepier than the game at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I'm going to put this out there. Maybe that's not a friend you should have around, because that guy's going to kill your ass. That guy, I'm going to let you know. You can't be the person when he goes on a killing spree, when they interview and you're like, he seemed like such a nice guy. You can't do that. You got to be like, no. He would laugh at death. He was crazy. And we just didn't do anything because we were like, I don't want to mess with that guy. He could kill me.
He laughed at anime girls. He laughed at anime girls and talked to cabbages. It was creepy.
Yeah, I would be like, oh no, I knew he was going to kill people, but like, I just didn't want it to be me, so I didn't say nothing. That's what I would be. I'd be like,
opening that Pandora's box.
They'd interview me, and they'd be like, well, what did you know he was going to go on this spree of running people over with the lawnmower? And I'd be like, I mean, I figured it was going to happen anyway. That guy, he was crazy. I just didn't want to mess with me, so I kept my distance. I'd be the one honest guy on the news. Everyone on the news is like, no, I didn't know. He just kept to himself, seemed like a nice boy. I'd be like, no, that guy was crazy. That dude, he was wacky. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite games so far, mostly because now I can finally play video games. My career's over. But what about you?
Yeah, I didn't play too much. I mean, thanks to Gaming and Ties, I have at least played a little bit. So, what was it? Something and Guns and Galleone was pretty fun shooter game.
Cannoli.
I also got my virginity taken away this year for TF2 and for Overwatch. You just never.
You got your cherry double pop.
Jesse's a.
You can't shake your head when you cosplayed as May at a convention.
No,
I'm just saying. I like that you chose both games, and yeah, people, they're both very similar. and what they are. So I think it's funny that you chose both.
The story was I started playing Overwatch this year because we actually have a show where we try to play a different game each week. So there was like, hey, there's a sale on Overwatch, get it. I got it. And a common friend of ours was like, you're shitting me. You're playing Overwatch now? I asked you to play TF2 for ages. Now you have to play TF2. And that's why I also play TF2.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I thought you were just like, man, I like Overwatch. So here's how I think you went. I like Overwatch. I love the characters. I'm going to go look up source film porn of the Overwatch characters. And they're like, oh, wait, source film porn comes from this other game.
So I need to try that one.
Team Fortress 2, what's that game about? And then you went and you played that. That's how I think you did it. But, tell whatever story you want.
Great story, actually, about getting him to play TF2 for the first time. I was streaming my source film. Ooh, let me tell you about Pornhub searches for SFM stuff.
What?
They are...
Go on.
Okay, quick tangent about that. No, it's just I have seen so many advertisements for things that are like in the SFM style that you can obviously tell. And then I was watching that news show.
Are you saying advertisements on the internet are lies?
No.
But no, I was watching that news show that showed me the Swedish tunnel opening, and they were like, hey, when Fortnite came out on Pornhub, search results skyrocketed for SFM porn and Fortnite porn. And I was like, really? So I looked up SFM porn on Pornhub, and thousands of results. And I'm just like, who takes the time, and do they make money off this? But
I like.
Or is it a passion
I'm really
project
curious now. I don't know. Like, I get the idea of like, I like a thing too much. I get that, but I also don't get like why Fortnite is the one where people are like, yeah, I like
Minecraft
the character
with guns.
I created. I don't get it. I don't get that one. But okay, sure.
But yeah. Anyway, the story of how we got into TF2.
Exactly. Favorite one, I would say I checked. I actually played it this year. Overcooked. The sad thing about Overcooked is you need to play it with people. Alone, it's no.
What is it?
Overcooked. Actually, TB played it. That's where I know it from. That he talked about it at some point. It's. Wait. I can.
Oh yeah. I do know this game.
It's.
I played this at PAX a while ago.
Yeah, I played it with here Grimson Tide TV in the chat. We played it local co-op, sadly. So wasn't. No, this was Cuphead. Cuphead was the one where we only realized that it's local co-op after the show started, and he basically needed to drive here very spontaneously. No, with Overcooked, it's so fun, and we really wanted to play it with 3 people when Keyframe was here with us. Didn't find the time, sadly. Amazing. Overcooked, super fun game. I can only it's okay to maybe give a little bit of context since it's not a well-known name. So everybody controls a little character running around in a big kitchen, and you have to experience the actual stress of a kitchen. Like one guy needs to prepare stuff, the other guy puts it together, then it gets served. Somebody needs to do the dishes, and the kitchens are designed horribly. So it's chaos. Pure chaos. It's amazing, and you are just like, do this, do that. I mean, I can put a link to our Let's Play down in the description below. It's amazing. The sad thing is it really only works in local co-op, and you need to play it with people. Alone, I don't see this game being any fun alone. But with people, it's beautiful. Loving it.
It looks very cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so those were our game suggestions. Here's one. Ask awkward.
Wait, I forgot that was from a question. I forgot we went everywhere, and that was from a question. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Mana from Manapide says, who would win in a battle between a Wendigo, a Resident Evil 7 Goopy Boy, and a drunk Davis with a shotgun?
Somebody's watching Scary Game Squad.
Probably a Wendigo. I'm going to be real with you. Davis would go down first. If he'd cower, he'd drop the shotgun. If it was real, he'd drop the shotgun and run. Let's be real. He'd be the first one dead.
You know what? I'm going to put my faith in Davis.
No, Goopy Boy Davis would run from Goopy Boy, and Goopy Boy's dumb, so he'd come after Davis, and the Wendigo would murder the Goopy Boy and then hunt and ritually slaughter Davis. He would be so dead. Oh, blood everywhere. It'd be awful.
I mean, they have barely been able to actually defeat any of the Wendigos in the game, didn't they? Did they?
No. All they did was like at the very, very end, you had the option of like either immediately setting everything on fire and blowing it up, or waiting and blowing it up. But even then, you didn't necessarily beat it because there's a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Like all good teen horror, there's the post-credit where it's like, it isn't really dead. So, yeah.
Oh, boy. So we got one more question, and this one goes directly to you, Jesse, from Devin Meyer. And he asks, what has been the biggest change in your life since your transition from history teacher to YouTuber?
Man, one of the things I always remember is when I stopped teaching, and this is, I'll never forget this. It's one of the reasons why I think my success, whatever I have, is always a fluke. I'll never forget. So when I taught, I made $28,000 a year is what I made as a teacher. And just in the grand scheme of things, that's not an awful lot. That's really low. And so when I left teaching, I was ridiculously in debt. Like, ridiculously in debt. And I had to leave my apartment. I had to sell pretty much everything I owned. So I had nothing except my computer and my car. There was a car I was like that my parents gave to me that was already like 10, 12 years old. So I had their old car. I had nothing. And then I had to leave Ohio and move in with my parents again in Kentucky. And so then I spent a few months like, what do I even do? I am broke. I am super in debt. I started doing stuff on the internet for fun, just to like keep my mind off stuff. And then I got into YouTube because TV was like, there's this thing that if you make money on YouTube. And I was like, all right, sure. And so I started doing it for fun. And I remember like getting $100 paycheck one month and being like, oh my God. And then, yeah, as time went on, my parents were like, maybe you should like get a job as a substitute teacher. And I was like, not going to happen. I remember being a student. Substitute teachers are shit upon. I was like, I do not want to go into work every day and hate my life. So I was like, well, you know, the next school season doesn't start for like another few months until this was 2010. And I was like, well, you know, nothing's going to happen until fall 2011. So I literally can't do anything until then. So I'm just going to like chill out and everything will be fine. By summer 2011, I was making more than I had teaching. And I had managed to pay off all my debt and my student loans. And so I was like, oh no, this is a real job. So I started saving up, and then in March 2012, I moved to LA. And so like, it's one of those things where I truly to this day believe whatever the hell racket is going on with this whole advertiser, Twitch, YouTube thing, I don't know how I make money. I don't know why I make money. I still am a little weirded out by it. I think I make too much, honestly, too much money. I can't understand it. But if someone, every time they ask me, would you go back to teaching if YouTube stopped? I have to honestly respond, if YouTube or Twitch ended, I'd walk into the ocean. Because nothing like this is like
you'd be Robin Williams from the Law and Order episode.
I would Robin Williams Law and Order the shit out of this. I straight up just like nothing is as gratifying for me and as entertaining, and like it's just teaching is the single hardest job in the world. And people give teachers shit because they're like, well, they have the summer off. Like, you have no clue what goes into teaching if that's what you think.
And I just compared 28,000 a year. That's nothing.
I got paid.
That's nothing.
Yep.
I get bored today, and I don't get a lot.
That's what I'm saying. 28,000 a year, and that is you work 5 days a week. Technically, you work 7 because you're grading papers. You never stop. You have to like come up with lessons. You are a teacher is literally a babysitter, a counselor, and an educator all rolled up into one. And you are like responsible for class after class after class of kids, most of which don't want to be there. Oh, it's a thankless job. And if the kid does something wrong, it's your fault because no parent or principal is going to believe the sweet child is a problem until it becomes like that child literally tried to burn a cat or some shit. Then they're like, oh, maybe the problem.
No, but it's the teacher's fault because he didn't intervene earlier.
It's a thankless job.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out for the record, I've said before, I'll say it again. I would just right on into the ocean. I'd be like, I'm close enough to the water. I'm just, you know what? I had a good run. I feel great about what I accomplished. Goodbye, everyone. And I just like have a goodbye party, and I'd walk into the water and disappear under the waves, and that'd be it. I'd let the sharks take me. I got nothing. I couldn't go back. I couldn't do
Dress
it.
up
I'd
as
be
a
like,
seal.
yeah. Oh, I'd start a mermaid colony. I'd be like, come join me in the water.
And all the other YouTubers will follow you.
It's a difficult thing. Yeah, I remember my parents when I first started being like, what the hell is this? I was like, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm making money, and they're like, yeah, so we can't hate you for it. Like, we can't say you're doing something stupid because you're earning a living, but it's weird. I'm like, I know. I think it's weird too. Yeah.
I had that same feeling because I'm basically self-employed. I freelance for people. I am my own boss. Being an artist is my job, and I started making money off of it when I was I think a junior or senior in high school. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I mean, I still had plans to go to school. But the thing is, my mom and dad wanted me to be an art teacher. They were like, well, you like art. You could be a teacher for it. I'm like, listen here. No, I can barely handle my own generation. You think I can handle the generation behind me? And they're like, oh, but you're great with kids. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not a teacher.
And I can return them afterwards.
I can return them. But and it's also the thing of no one ever takes art teachers seriously. And I like my art. And the thing is, this is from being friends with art teachers, especially since my last art teacher that I had was actually a professional artist. He made paintings and sold them. So he had a job outside of the art teaching job. And you're so restricted because you have these guidelines and everything you have to hit. And that's especially suffocating in a creative class like an art class or a music composition class, which I was in both. And so, but when my career took off and I'm making a livable salary and money and stuff, my mom has gotten to the point where she's finally like, okay, you're doing well for yourself. You know what you're doing. It's just weird to me because it's on the internet. Internet
never will catch on.
I guess it's one of those things where people just don't understand. But you also have to understand that, for me at least, I know there's many people now, especially young people, who didn't have the internet. But for parents, the internet wasn't a thing. And for me, when I was young, the internet wasn't a thing. It wasn't until I was in college that the internet, or not college, high school, that the internet existed. College. What the hell did I do in college on the internet? Oh, that's right. Look up porn on the internet. God bless it.
Gotcha.
But like, no, but I can't remember if it was like 9th grade, whatever grade it was. Like the internet, it was one of those things where there was no internet. When I was a kid, the internet was like, I remember being 11 or 12 and the internet just starting as a thing. And Fox Saturday morning cartoons were like, Fox Kids, tune in and go see all the like Ninja Turtles online. And I was like, okay. And I remember getting my mom's laptop and logging into the internet. And the internet service we had was only Word internet. So I couldn't see the images. All I could see was the text.
Oh, it's like a PDA.
Ooh.
Where you can only check your email.
Your favorite TV show in written form.
Yeah, no, it was like, come play our Fox Kid games. And I'd log in and it'd be like the text games. And I'd be like, what? Oh yeah, no, it was terrible. So I remember when like, I think I understand like both spectrums of like, I see older people who have no clue what the internet's like. And I'm like, I kind of get it. It's foreign and weird and they don't understand. But I also see younger kids who all they know is like the BS of the internet, where people put photos that are fake and their fake lives and their fake BS, and everything they do is like super photoshopped and amazing. So everyone feels terrible about themselves because like, I'll never be perfect. It's like, oh, that's bullshit too. So there's so much. Oh, I understand both sides of it. I feel like I'm lucky to have been born in the middle of it. So I can see like, one, the internet's BS, but also like its awesome side too.
Yeah, it's the weird thing, especially with me, because both of my parents, they had me at a later age. Like, I think my mom was a later age for certain things, like 33 or 34 when she had me. And my parents were already 11 years apart. Like, my dad was in his early 60s before he passed, and my mom's in her 50s now. So they were like the 60s and 70s kids. Like, my mom my mom got champagne given to her by one of John Lennon's sons. Like that kind of 70s, 80s. That's a story for the post show. But but I was born in near the end of the 90s. Like, but to the point where all the media given to me was reruns of 90s things and early 2000s stuff. So I still count myself as a 90s kid because all the media I consumed was 90s oriented. And the 2000s, let's face it, the early 2000s didn't get its image until later. But I remember just when I think I learned how to use a computer and the internet by the time I was 5. Because I would remember getting on the old wide back computers, because we had an old ass computer because my mom didn't know the internet, and I would just go on nick.com, put in the Flash plugin and play all the Flash games, or go on Cartoon Network, play all the Flash games with the cartoons I saw on TV.
And then the phone bill came in.
Oh yeah, my parents would send me to my aunt's house to play the game, so we didn't have to use the phone, so they could use the phone at my house, because I'm such a high score achievement whore for things that I need to get that skill thing. I used to have an obsession with getting all the little leaderboards that mean nothing on these things, and I would be playing for like 3 hours just in trance, flipping Krabby Patties. And my Aunt Vicky's like, Chrissy, are you okay? You haven't said a word. And I'm like, I'm fine.
But yeah, since you also mentioned your art earlier, and Jesse was asking for examples, I looked up some further examples.
No, I don't need to. No.
Recent ones. Okay, so first of all, to give a little bit of what this one drew that.
But I can draw the animals and the humans.
Yeah, but
I mean. Also, I can give you a work in progress of one of my most recent pieces.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Hold on, I'll take a screen cap of it because I was working on it right before the podcast. Have you ever seen an anime called Little Witch Academia?
Not me, nope.
But I just want to say that.
Well, there's a lot of waifu material there.
Well, we can probably
get.
Oh wait, there it is. Oh, line work is done. I see.
Yes, I'm still working on the broom, but. Yeah, I draw a lot of things. But why did you want to mention my artwork?
Yeah, let's also see, because I also found this beautiful piece. I don't know what you think about it, Jesse.
Oh, this was an old thing. This is back before I knew how to draw.
That is an incredible piece of artwork.
Oh, shush. It's so old.
Incredible piece of artwork. I truly believe it to be one of your better ones.
Oh, thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, and I guess now that you realize what kind of fan boy and girl we actually are, I guess you feel maybe a little bit awkward.